Hello, nerds, or people who don't identify as nerds but have somehow ended up here. It's not a requirement that you're a nerd, but at least open to becoming a nerd. My name is Ailian, Aylian. Thank you all for joining me here on this Tuesday evening for some cozy maths. Now I have tried doing streams before where I just kind of went straight from basically just me doing a Q&A. It was just my camera coming straight through. Now I'm trying things a little bit different today because I do essentially have a way of kind of writing on the board, as it were. So I would love if we can kind of be together and do some cozy chill maths. That does mean that I am using some software for this, and as you know, things go wrong. It's going to be a test. Oh, I can see the chat, which is awesome. So, Binion saying waiting here with a cup of tea. Me too. So I have selected what is called sleepy tea, which is a mix of passiflora. I think it has some cinnamon and maybe potentially some lavender in there. So it's just one of those mix of teas that you can get. Yeah, let me know what cup of tea, what beverage have you got for this nice chill maths. And as always, there's going to be technical errors, there's going to be issues. My plan is to be with you for the next 45 minutes or so. We do some relaxing maths. I am happy to take suggestions from the chat as to what maths we do. I have some maths looked out that we can work through. For those of you who don't know, my job is maths communication. And usually that takes the form of I do like these, they're called parallel circles, live streams just for the youths, the young people. And they're over on Parallel, run by Simon Singh. That's my job that I get paid for. But as it so happens, for the next couple of weeks, I have this random gap in my schedule. And I kind of thought, okay, what am I going to do with this random gap? Why don't I do some more general streams? So these are not particularly specifically for young people. So bear that in mind. I don't plan on swearing or anything like that, but these streams are not especially for young people. If that's what you are for, then you kind of go and see me on Parallel. That is the very PG, like, young person specific version of the streams that I do. Ezekiel asking, am I a young person? That's entirely self-determined. I still feel young, even though I'm very much in my 30s. I don't know if you ever, do you start feeling old at some point? I guess it's all relative. Steve is asking about new soft cell shapes. Ooh, I haven't come across that. Have we got another new shape? I did see that there is a solution to what is the largest shape that you can fit around a corner. Kind of looks a bit like a telephone / sofa. And I would love if we could make one of those and then essentially make a maze so people are going around solving those. Right, let me test out and see if I can do things properly here. So, dun dun dun. Here is a big board, and I should be able to write on this. I have all of 2 slides loaded up, one just for writing. Yeah. Okay, and here we're going to do some maths. Now, philosophically, let's discuss. I wanted so much to be able to have a camera pointing down the way so that you could see my actual handwriting, because obviously I love the tactile connection when you're doing maths. It feels like really doing it when you get to write it with your hand. And I think I have fairly decent handwriting, which is not something that came naturally to me. Like, I worked on improving my handwriting, but StreamYard would charge me double to have 2 cameras. So for now, we're going to have this scratchy looking pen when we're doing our maths. And I think that's fine. I think that when you're trying something new, you should just do it to the best of the ability that you have at that moment. Like, do it terribly. If something is worth doing, it's worth doing not perfect. And I am someone who succumbs to perfectionism often, and it gets in the way of me doing cool new things. So no more with that. If something's worth doing, it's worth doing not as well as you would like it to do. If you're not feeling it one day, if you're feeling really sad, if something's worth doing, do it sad, do it angry, do it grumpy, do things how you are at that time, with what you have at that time. Okay, that's my motivational talk for today, which is like mostly just a self-pep talk. um Things don't have to be perfect. You do them how they are. The second slide that I have here is a picture of me with a crow. So something which I end up on all of these little side quests, and I wish I had more of a way of communicating them with the following that I'm really grateful for having. So obviously here on YouTube, we've got just over 11,000 of us, absolute nerds here. So I could see that we're not going to have 11,000 people on a live stream. That would be wild. That would be too much. But I would love to kind of have more of a way of telling people what I'm up to. So something that's been going on in the background is I am hand rearing a baby crow, which we should very much talk about the ethics behind that. You should not be picking up baby crows or moving them around. Usually the parents will come back to them. There is not normally a need for you to move a wild animal, but this one had already been moved by someone who is not me and handed to someone else. Basically a chain of people picking up the crow and worrying and going like, I can't care for a crow, until the crow ended up with me. His name is Carl. I did not name him, but I think it's a good name for a crow, because then when you're feeding him, it sounds like Carl, like crow kind of words. And Daftmouth says it's good to teach crows how to properly use chopsticks. It is important for them to know, but also it's like I can pretend that it's a beak so that he would take the food. So I've had the crow for near 2 weeks now. Yep, had Carl for about 2 weeks, and he's getting stronger every day, and hopefully soon he will be out into the wild, which would be amazing. And then other things that I did today were I attended a seminar on ethics in mathematics. Some of my notes from ethics in mathematics. And I thought it was lacking in some parts, but definitely there were some bits that I have as takeaways. One quote which I particularly enjoyed about ethics in mathematics was, over the past 100 years, the way that we've designed our courses for people who are learning mathematics, there's been less of an emphasis on mathematics being taught alongside philosophy. Like when you look back into, Greek or Renaissance mathematicians, it's always like they were a mathematician and a philosopher. Think like René Descartes. And that has lessened. People don't really tend to learn maths and philosophy at the same time anymore. And so the quote that I got from this seminar was, people know more mathematics and less about how to use their mathematics, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah, because I feel like I came out of my maths degree knowing a decent amount of mathematics, but very much not knowing how to use my mathematics. And definitely nobody ever spoke to me about like ethical considerations around, maths can be used for good and it can be used for evil. Dun dun dun, as can anything. Okay, let's jump into some actual maths. I'm trying to remind myself that this is actually my break, and it's time to be cozy and slow down. Enjoy some tea. Let me know in the chat as well, like on a 1 to 5 scale, how is everyone else doing today? 1 being like my world is on fire and it's just an awful day, and 5 is it's the best day of my life so far. Eric's asking, what degree do you have in maths? MSc, PhD? Oofed. I wish I had a PhD. No. That was never really on the cards for me, just in terms of like the arrangement, just like kind of how my life is arranged. I grew up very academically isolated, so the first person in my family to go to university. So I have an MA in maths, a Master of Arts. So just an MA, and I'm like in some ways more qualified in education than I am in maths. So I have I've done like a PGDE, obviously, so that I can teach in secondary schools. And I've done a couple of like postgrad qualifications in education, middle level leadership for education, which I did before I found out that I don't actually want to be in charge of people. It's not a job that suits me well. Ooh. So most people hovering around 3.75, 4 before maths, 4, now 5. Love it. 4, eating food, watching good maths. Yeah, Robin sitting at a 6. Ho ho ho. That's a joke because what Robin wrote in the chat was three exclamation mark, which I think is like an excited about 3, which reads as 3 factorial. So you're doing 3. So for those that don't know, I've thought about this a lot because I have very pedantic friends, and we've got a 4 with a nice nap this afternoon. Yes, excellent for mathematical naps. 3.14159. I should have seen that coming. We're hovering, I think that's about the average. We're hovering around 3s. Okay, so if you were excited about the number 3, oh my gosh. Many reasons to be excited about the number 3, by the way. You end up writing 3 factorial. So in the maths world, this would be 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6. Which is not what you meant. And I love, like, sometimes you'll see on adverts or like different TV programs, there's like an accidental factorial because people are excited about a number, and then they put the actual digit in a sentence and the exclamation mark at the end. Now, if you are excited about the number 1 or the number 2, this is absolutely fine because 1 factorial is just 1 and 2 factorial is just 2. But 3 onwards, it becomes really frustrating to want to be excited about a number. And then if you have maths friends, you message them and they'll make fun of you. They'll be like, oh, what? And purposefully misinterpret what you're saying. Sophie McLean. But I think that there's a workaround. So if you have something like, say, a 6 factorial, which I think is like 720, 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. If you put a second factorial sign on that without a bracket, with no brackets, this double factorial is not do 6 factorial, 720, and then factorial again. It's factorial, but every second one is missing. So it's like 6 times 4 times 2, and then there wouldn't be like a times 1 on here. So it's like every other one. So I think we can use this as a workaround. I've only ever seen it used for double factorials. But if you were, say, excited about the number 3, you could write 3 double exclamation mark, and that would be 3 times 1, which is fine. That's what you meant. You wanted to be excited about 3. 6 factorial, but louder. 720. No, we're chill. We're calm. It's cozy maths time here. So say if you were excited about the number 6, well, we want to get rid of, I guess, everything in between the 6 and the 1. So you could say 6 and then 5 exclamation marks, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then that would be 6 times, miss the 5, miss the 4, miss the 3, miss the 2, and then we get to 1, which is what we meant. So as long as you do like n-1 exclamation marks, you can be excited about a number in front of your incredibly pedantic friends. Now, I personally think that there should be an abbreviation for this where we use the dot under the exclamation mark. This is, I want to say this is entirely made up. I've never seen this in convention. So don't go quoting me on here. This is just something that I think would be cool. Say if you wanted to do like 5 exclamation marks in a row, I think it should be like an exclamation mark and then like a little subscript 5 to kind of say 5 exclamation marks. So something like this, but that is very much like a made-up notation from my brain, and if you use it, nobody will know what you were talking about. So just be aware of that. Here's me, little space buns, and generally happy. There we go. Yeah, it would be like a better, more clean way. I'm a big notation nerd when it comes to maths. Like, I love the notation that we use for things, and I enjoy learning maths notation. Just, I don't know, as like a way of language, a way of thinking. I very much enjoy like the upside down A for all, things like that. Okay, let's do some questions. So now I think this is going to be like way underpowered, because I know that there are some people in this chat who have we have such a range, and this was always going to happen, doing like these kind of cozy maths chats. I am happy to take it in whatever direction people want, but I thought it would be cool to look at, because I have not looked at this yet, the JMC questions, which came out earlier, 1st of May. Oh, so it's like basically 1 month on. Now, the very early ones, they're going to be a little bit too easy. Maybe don't need to think about those. But there's always something interesting going on in these. So I thought this might be kind of fun to work through, because I have not done it yet. This mug, by the way, I got from like a really nice potter, very young person. I was honestly shocked. Let's give a moment for the mug. Let's zoom in, enhance. So this mug was handmade by someone who's like 19, 20 years old, and they run a pottery shop in Perth, Scotland, not Perth, Australia. And I think it's just really beautiful, and it's like a travel mug, so it has a little bit up top. And the reason that I found them is they stuck a bunch of stickers to lampposts being like, "I'm a potter, buy my pots," on these lampposts. And I was like, I can appreciate some guerrilla marketing, and I love supporting local businesses. The fact that it's like an LGBTQ plus business, even better. And I think it's my favorite mug, best mug I've ever used. Okay, let's go. The Grey Cuber says, took me way too long to realize that for all was an upside down A. Yeah, when I was super edgy at uni, I kind of experimented with spelling my name with like the upside down A for all. And Lo says, "Oh, I haven't thought about the JMC in many years." Ah, yes. Thank you for the reminder. Robin says, "Happy Pride." Yes, happy Pride to everyone. We're in Pride Month now. I have to say, like, it does always catch me by surprise, because there's Pride shouldn't be like a single event. But yes, there's various different Pride things going on. DIY Pride in Aberdeen this Saturday, but happy Pride Month to everyone. Okay, so first question, what is half of 10% of 20? I guess this is just like a cool order of operations. You can help me with this. Everyone can. I think it would be really cool to build up a map of what is the most prevalent order of operations initialism or acronym in different countries. So like I've seen maps before. I was like, what is the most popular computer game, or what is the quickest way to insult someone in various different languages and countries. So I'm from the north of Scotland, and I use BODMAS is the general way that I remember order of operations. Brackets of or other, division, multiply, add, subtract. But I know that the further south you get, more people tend to use BIDMAS. And then in America, we've got PEMDAS. But also, because division and multiply and add and subtract have equal weighting in terms of order of operations, it could be PEDMAS is another one. Like we could swap them around, and that's like P is parenthesis. I don't know. In different languages, there have to be different words, like entirely different words. Bodmas in Wales, would that be in Welsh though? Like in Welsh, would you use bodmas? Because I don't know if brackets is still going to be bodmas. Okay, so here is a classic order of operations. Oh no way! We've got a non-English one. Clapapustry. I really hope you're not just making me swear, because that seems like too many letters for something that represents the order of operations. Um, Okay, so half of 10% of 20. Sometimes questions are like onions, just like ogres, and we work our way inside out. So 10% of 20 first would be 2, and then a half of that would be 1. Um, I like so it was very eye-opening to me when I realized that the O is the same as times. Of is just times. Oh, for my Latin brethren, popamudas, love it. Um, and some people converting the 1/2 to like a times by 0.5. Yeah, cool. Okay, question 2. Is there anything interesting that we can glean from this? 4444 plus 5555, so we're on 9999, divided by 3333. 3333. Yep, said the right amount of them. Yeah, okay. So we just get four threes. Seems about right to me. Let me make sure I'm not doing something absolutely stupid. Do you know? Wish I hadn't used that word because I try and avoid it. But something incredibly silly. So 9, 9. This is the fun. Like you can go all the way through your maths degree, and then when you start seeing numbers again, you're like, what? 9999 divided by 3333. Surely this is just 3. Because this is going to be 3 times 3333 over 3333. There we go. Answer is 3. Yeah. A. I'm happy with that. Someone can check my answers for these. How many of the following are factors of? Can we read this okay? I don't know if I don't have any overlays. So like I personally hate when things are like stark white, so usually I'll overlay things with like a light yellow. Okay. How many of the following are factors of 2025? Okay, I think this is one for the nerds because they always put one in here that is something to do with like the year, so 2025. And as we know, it is year of the square. It's our year. So 45 times 45 is 2025. So we know that 45 is then I guess we can just build it up from prime factors of there. So it's definitely divisible by 25. Like anything that ends in 2 zeros would be divisible by 25, and it's got an extra 25 on there. It's divisible by 5, and it's divisible by 3, because 5 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 is 9. So if it's divisible by 5 and divisible by 3, it's divisible by 15. If it's divisible by 3 and 25, should be divisible by 75. Now, how would you know if you're divisible by 225? What is that? 15 times 15? My gut feeling is no. So 45. 45 is 9 times 5. Okay, yeah, no, I can see that happening. So, boop. So 45 times 45. And then I can kind of split these up and use them whichever way I want. So that's like 9, 5, a 9 and a 5. And each of these 9s, I could have just done it 15 by 3. But each of these 9s has a 3 in. So yeah, 15 by 3. And I've got 2 of those. So I definitely have 2 factors of 15. And I think 15 times 15 is 225. In which case, all of them. Yeah. Nice. Oh, we've got an update on Welsh Bodmas. Corlat. Corlat. That is cool. Yes, we definitely need to get this bod mass map. Can we call it the no, I was gonna say, can we call it the bod map? But that's entirely like English centric because that pun only makes sense if you use bod mass. Okay, what have we got up next? Now, this question I have to admit I have done before, so I might skip because I have looked at one or two of these questions, but I was overjoyed when I saw this question come up. I don't know if anyone follows me on TikTok, but if you do follow me on TikTok and you kind of scroll back, I made a whole video one time about how awesome Jasmine Paris is. So this question here talks about Jasmine Paris being the first woman ever to finish the 100-mile Berkeley Marathon in Tennessee. And her time was just under the 60-hour limit for the event at 59 hours, 58 minutes, and 21 seconds. Now, not only did she do that, Jasmine Paris, the reason that I kind of know who she is, I do quite a lot of running. I think in 2019, I want to say 2019, she won the Montaigne Spine Race, not breaking the record for women, breaking the overall record. And the Montaigne Spine Race is like 380 miles. It's like 380 miles across mountains. And she did it in something outrageous, like 80 hours. She's like, I read the account of it. She said she was kind of like hallucinating with lack of sleep by the end. She smashed the record by 12 hours. And get this, she did it in the gap between finishing her PhD, like submitting her PhD thesis and doing her PhD viva for becoming a vet. So it's just like 2-week gap. She was like, oh, do you know what I'll do? I'll run the Montaigne Spine Race, absolutely smash it. And at the same time, she still had like an infant child and was still breastfeeding. And so she was expressing at every single one of the checkpoints. That is just an unreal amount of strength. I think a strength that I will never fully appreciate. But, oh, Robin says, can I talk about digital roots? Probably not. I think I'd have to look, like, I don't have everything at the top of my head all of the time. So digital roots is something that I've not looked at in a long time. But I can put it in the bag of things to like kind of remind myself. Feel free to tell me something about digital roots. My current obsessions are gaps between, so arithmetic gaps between prime numbers. Let me just look at my notes, things that, because I've been into prime numbers for a long time. If you don't know, Say the Prime is my silly project, which I love. Let's Say the Prime. Let's do a quick checkup on how Say the Prime is going. So I thought it would be really cool if we could, as a kind of almost like performance art collective action, get everyone together to contribute tiny little parts to saying the world's largest prime number. Yes, it is like 42 million, 32,000 and 42,332,240. Anyway, in the 42 millions of digits long. You're like, okay, that's really long. That's a long number. But if you work out, if everyone was to speak at, say, like 2 digits per second, it's only like 270 days nonstop saying it out loud, which is too much for one person. But I see the analytics. Like, if you can make one silly TikTok video, and you go to sleep and you wake up and you check it, and if you look at the watch time, the hours together, it's like already into the thousands of hours of watch time. And I think I guess when you're on like this side, when you're on like the creator side of YouTube, you see the amount of effort that people put into just like watching stuff. I know that the person hours are out there. I think it would take something like, if we got 250 people to do it once, to do one chunk per day, it would be done in a day. But here's our current progress, 0.319%. I am so proud of that. And look, we've got You can even see a visible progress, like more than a couple of pixels there. There is one person I have to give a shout out to, which is Ben Ashforth. If you have not seen Ben Ashforth's saying the prime videos, they are next level. Like, they are art in and of themselves. It makes me so happy because it's me that moderates this. So every couple of days I'll like kind of log on and watch through and make sure that people are actually saying prime numbers and not just like Rick rolling me or whatever. And it makes me so happy to just like see that people are saying numbers. And I know that seems so silly. But it's like everyone coming together to do something that's just purely nerdy. Like, there's nothing else to it other than just a pure nerdy appreciation of prime numbers. So yeah, something prime number wise that I've been into lately is like a arithmetic progression of primes. So for example, there's a really nice one at the very start of the number line. The number 3 is prime, and then 5 is prime, and then 7 is prime. Steve saying Matt Parker would be up for that prime recital. Matt's already done one. Yeah, if you go to the Say the Prime YouTube, you can watch Matt saying 419 digits of the prime number all in a row. He absolutely Parker chunked it though. So we call all of the little pieces of the prime chunks. So it's split up from the 42 million into 419 digit chunks. And Matt got a chunk that had 6 consecutive 3s in it, which is really cool. And he accidentally said 3 5 times. So we're going to have to like loop one of those 3s and fix it. Okay, so you may know, or you may not, in which case it's my absolute pleasure to tell you that the numbers 3, 5, and 7 are all prime. So they have exactly 2 factors. They are divisible by 1 in themselves. And then you might notice, okay, 3 to 5, that's a gap of 2. 5 to 7, there's another gap of 2. That's cool. Like 3, 5, 7. Is that ever going to happen again? Because twin primes is when you have 2 primes with a gap of 2. So like 101 and 103. They are twin primes. But what about these triply primes? Would they ever happen again? And the answer is no, because every third odd number is going to be divisible by 3. So that does not happen again. And I guess there's kind of 2 ways that you can view this. So you can view it as either an arithmetic progression of primes. So am I going to write that all out? Arithmetic. Oh no. So like we're saying, we're not working with the tech that I would want here, but we start terrible and we work our way up. I mean, feel free to support me on Patreon, and then maybe if I get like tons and tons of money, rather than having the basic StreamYard, I could get the bigger StreamYard. Ooh, Analogic Paradox. Welcome to this live stream. Yeah, good to see you. But honestly, I feel like I begrudge companies' existence in general, but I would begrudge paying a company twice as much just so that you can see my handwriting. We'll find a workaround. We'll get to it. But anyway, so this is an arithmetic progression of primes. Or you can view it as something different, which is what's called a balanced prime. Balanced. Oh my gosh, look at that handwriting. Balanced prime. Prime. Because we've got 5 in the middle, and it's kind of almost acting as like the fulcrum point on a seesaw, and we've got the exact same gap between 3 and 7. So this is a balanced prime. Now this one happens to be both of these. Like, it's both an arithmetic progression of primes and it's a balanced prime. Now when it comes to a gap of 2, never again are we going to have like a bigger arithmetic progression or anything like that. We're also not going to have another balanced prime with a gap of 2. So balanced primes, you have a middle one and the gap needs to be the same. So whatever it is. this happens to be both of them. Now, checks notes. I did write down, I hope in this notebook, we'll find out. Yeah, I wrote down a couple because then once you start seeing something like this, you're like, hey, what's the biggest one? And how many of these do we know? And could there be more? Could it be balanced? And then there's another, well, I guess it would go from this one, another gap. And yeah, so the highest known balanced prime that we have, absolutely mahoosive. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to write this down. It's one of these things. I will read it out if I can parse it properly. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 2 quintuple, 400 and quintuple. That's not the word that I want. Million, billion, quintillion. 2 quintillion, 494 quadrillion, 779 trillion, 36. I've definitely done this wrong. 2494779036241 times by 2 to the power of 49,800 plus 7. That is the largest known balanced prime that we have. So once again, absolutely giant. But you can also think of 17. 17 has quite an... Is that the one in the middle here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 17 is quite a nice example of a balanced prime because it doesn't have that arithmetic progression. So 17 lies in between 11 and 23. Boom, boom, boom. And also 5 and 29. 5 and 29. And you can see there's some primes missing. We don't have the 13 in here because 13 would then balance with 21, which is not prime. But yeah, so here's a longer run of balanced primes. Oh, am I being silly? Yeah, I think I am being silly. This is a prime arithmetic progression. No, wrong information. Dun, dun, dun. Let me blockade this over here. Because the gap here is 6. It's a consistent arithmetic progression of 6. Whereas to get from 11 to 17, I guess it is both again. Darn. Okay. I suppose I need to do a better job of finding some of these numbers. But that's what I've been into lately, is thinking about arithmetic progressions. Oh, get this. So it's still an open problem if there are infinitely many balanced primes. Just the same as we don't know if there are infinitely many twin primes. We also don't know if there are infinitely many balanced primes. But the longest known string that we have of primes in arithmetic progression, this is definitely the arithmetic progression one, not the balanced prime one. So the longest known string that we have, don't quote me, but I think it's about 23 primes in arithmetic progression, was found on a PlayStation 3. So I asked my friend Matt Gray about this. So he said, or they said, actually, oh, that's really bad. I don't know Matt Gray's pronouns. I'm going to say they. So I asked Matt, and they said that when the PlayStation 3 was built, it was built with an incredibly large processor, and it had inbuilt a kind of protein folding, almost like how the Great Internet Mersenne Prime search works, a protein folding program, so that in its downtime it could work on this protein folding problem, and you can repurpose that computer power for other things. And one of the programs that a wonderful friendly group of nerds did was reprogram it to look for primes in arithmetic progression. And so at one point, the longest known string of primes in arithmetic progression that we had was found on a PS3. What? Okay. I am going to have to gonna have to finish up at some point soon, and get back to my actual paid job that I'm supposed to be. Well, this is my gap. This is my break that I'm supposed to be doing. I did look out some Katrina Ag puzzles. These are curated by Jim Stevenson, but Katrina Ag, if you've not come across before, her name before she was married was Katrina Shearer, and she is a maths teacher in England who's a wonderful person and creates these astounding, next level, beautiful geometric puzzles, which she hand draws. And there's always some sort of like wonderful like invariance in them. First thing that I do as soon as I see one is just hop on GeoGebra and just kind of make it to see what's going on. But at some point in the future, maybe we can have a look at these. But let's see if we can handpick one of these JMC questions to finish off with, because I'm definitely not finishing a Katrina Ag puzzle in this time. Okay. Well, this one's got a picture, which I quite like. Let's see, which of these looks kind of interesting. You like question 25? Okay, let's at least have a read of it, see what it's like. Given a cube, how many equilateral triangles are there whose vertices are 3 vertices of the cube? Oh, that's nice. That is nice. Okay, what's the best way to visualize this? Terrible drawings, I think. So in my head, I'm just quickly running through there. Like, I'm not so good at 3D GeoGebra. We've also got Polypad and Desmos. These are all of our free things, but I think terrible drawings is going to be our friend here. So let's do it. Okay, so here's a cube, and we want equilateral triangles whose vertices are 3 of the vertices of the cube. How many equilateral triangles? Okay, so I guess first thing to note is the face triangles are going to be 1, 1, root 2 right-angled triangles. So they're not going to be on the face of the cube. So we are going to have to involve some spatial diagonals. So yes, we can take this diagonal here. Do you know what? This is starting to feel a little bit like group theory. So we're going to have this diagonal here, and this diagonal here. Okay. So I think we can hopefully all agree that the face diagonal on each of them is root 2. So this is an equilateral triangle with root 2, root 2, root 2. Now, I'm just going to kind of view from the perspective of this one up top. So using this leading diagonal from A to B, I could have gone to this front right vertex, or I could have gone the other way symmetrically to the back left vertex. So that's 2 from that leading diagonal. And then I could also have done it essentially like rotate that 90 degrees. So going from the top left vertex to the top right vertex, and I'd have 2 there, kind of like symmetrical. So 2 plus 2. Okay, so I think for every single face, I can create 4 of those. So that's 4 times 6. And I've counted some of them twice now. Because now, if I'm viewing like the front-on face here from this direction, I've already counted. So am I double counting everything, or am I triple counting everything? This particular one comes up here, it comes up here, and it comes up here. 24. I think I've triple counted everything. So 24. And then I want to divide by 3 because I've triple counted. So 8. 8 of those type. And are there any other bizarre triangles that we can make with 3 vertices? So I'm thinking about like the spatial diagonal that runs through here. So the spatial diagonal that goes all the way through here. I don't think can be involved in any equilateral triangles that have vertices, because whatever vertex it joins to is going to end up creating a right angle. But I guess if I did join all of those spatial diagonals, they would kind of meet at a central point, and I would have a bunch of like little equilateral triangles like this. Imagine like a square that's had all of its faces pushed in, kind of like a stellated square, I suppose, but one of them would not be the vertex. So I don't know if it's correct, but this is my final answer. That's where I'm leaving it. I'm going to say 8. So I'm going to say there's 8 of them, and that's my answer to 20. 25 is not normally like an easy question. So even though it's the JMC, the Junior Maths Challenge, I wouldn't kind of look down on doing any of these questions. Okay, I have to get back to my paid job now. Thank you all so much for being here. Robin saying this was fun. You have to go now. Yeah, good to see everyone. And like I say, for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have this gap in my schedule. So I'm planning to do this again for the next like few weeks at least. On Thursday this week, I turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days old, which I'm very excited about because I don't remember turning 1, 2, 3, 4 days old. And unless medical technology advances loads, I'm not going to turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days old. Sad times. So on Thursday is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day on Earth, and I'm gonna celebrate by volunteering doing some seagrass rewilding. So I'll tell you all about how that went next time, and yeah, I will see you next Thursday. And catch you later, calculators. Bye. Thank you so much for being here.